spiritual awakenings, they usually happen in stages. And with each stage, you're experiencing a period of discomfort. You may also call them growing pains, because with each stage that you are awakening to, it's somewhat of a rebirthing. You're being reborn into a newer version of you, a more evolved, a more awakened version of you. And it can be very uncomfortable. And in this video, I want to share with you 8 tips on how you can really manage these growing pains as you awaken more to the truth of who you are, so it doesn't have to be as uncomfortable and challenging as you're awakening. So if you're experiencing some growing pains and you're wondering, how can I make this less overwhelming and less challenging, then stay tuned. Hello, the beautiful soul. Welcome back to another video. I'm super excited that you're here. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Also excited that you're here, that you found me. In case you don't know me, my name is Kay Sanders. I'm a divine messenger and celestial healer, here to assist awakening souls on their spiritual awakening journey, so they can awaken more gracefully, awaken to the power within, so they can really create more success, abundance, and freedom in their life, all while living their life on purpose. And if that's you and you haven't done so already, I do want to extend an invitation. Please be sure to subscribe and also hit the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I release new content. So let's talk real quick about some of the symptoms of growing pains, because you may be experiencing growing pains without even knowing that that's what's going on, and you're wondering what is going on. So some of the growing pains that you will experience every time when you're awakening, or the more you're awakened. Now, the intensity of those growing pains will be different. It's not always going to be very painful. You may go through an awakening stage and it's not painful at all. It's not uncomfortable at all. But then you may also have some other stages where you're awakening and it is very, very uncomfortable. It really depends on how much you're growing, how much you're expanding. But some of the common symptoms of these growing pains is that all of a sudden you have a lot of doubt coming up. And especially that can happen, let's say you had a massive growth period or something amazing just happened that you have been working towards for such a long time, and all of a sudden you have it, and then you're having all this doubt coming up, like out of nowhere. You were fine at first, and then all of a sudden you're doubting yourself, you're doubting your path, you're doubting just about everything. Then there's also something else that actually can be very scary, which is that you may all of a sudden have thoughts of, I'm running out of time, I'm dying. Now, even though this is very scary, it's not that you're actually dying. Now, of course, if you have a medical condition or a medical concern, then of course, go get checked out, okay? But usually what that represents is that a part of yourself is dying off, because anytime you're awakening, well, that old self of you, the old part of you, your ego part, that limited self needs to kind of go away. So that's kind of dying off. And your ego doesn't want to, right? It's fighting that awakening. So whenever you're going through that period of like that, really the thoughts of, well, maybe I need to put my will in place. Maybe I need to, what happens if I'm gone? And what if I'm dying? And things like that. That's actually a good indicator that you're going through these growing pains, a stage of awakening. Like I said, if you have medical concerns, please get it checked out, okay? But when you're having that it's truly, it represents that an old part of you, that old self, that limited self is now dying off. So you can be reborn, because an awakening is a rebirth. It's a rebirthing process. So in order to be reborn, well, something old needs to kind of fall away. And that can trigger these feelings of dying, running out of time, and those type of things. So I wouldn't say it's anything to be concerned about, but it is very unsettling if all of a sudden you're having these thoughts. And if you're still young, you know, you shouldn't have these thoughts anyways, right? But that is also a good sign that you're going through these growing pains. It's part of the growing pains of you awakening, actually. But then you also may experience a time where you just want to be alone. Like everything just agitates you, people and situations, and you really just want to be alone. Because when you're awakening, it gives you that, it requires for you to kind of go inward, right? To really uncover and get used to that new you. But that causes you then also just really to isolate yourself. Now, as far as the being agitated, you may also be very emotional as well, where out of the blue, you just have a total meltdown, things like that. And there's also often a feeling like you're feeling stuck, feeling totally unmotivated. You may be questioning your path, yourself, and just your life in general. And it can also have physical pains as well, where all of a sudden you're starting to have a whole lot more pain, or if you've never had pain before, then maybe you're having more physical symptoms as well. Like I said, it's really every stage of your awakening represents a rebirth. And rebirth, I mean, just birth in general doesn't sound very pleasant, right? So that's basically what's happening. And the reason why you're going through this and the growing pains is, think of it like when you're buying a new shoe. A brand new shoe, it's going to be very uncomfortable at first until you're getting used to it. And it's the same thing. That's why you're experiencing those growing pains. It's just like you buying that new shoe, and the initial phases of you getting used to it is also painful. So that's why I was glad to share with you these 8 tips on how to really manage it, because you want to really get used to that new way of being to make it a lot easier. So let me share with you those 8 tips on how you can best manage your growing pains. The first one is just find strength in knowing that you are growing, you're transforming, you are awakening more. And I get it, when you're in the midst of it, it is, just thinking about it, well, I'm growing, it's not very helpful, right? But just allow yourself to find the strength in that this is just a period of you really going through that. And the more you allow yourself to really get used to that, and without pushing and grinding and trying to force yourself to move forward, if you really allow yourself to be in the flow, it's going to be so much easier. But like I said, those 8 tips that I'm going to share with you here going to help you with that. But just the first one, just have that knowing, just really find the strength in knowing that this is happening for a reason. It's happening to your highest and greatest good, and you will come out a better version of yourself, a more awakened version of yourself. So this is really, it's actually a beautiful thing. As painful as it is a beautiful thing, because you are growing, you are transforming. And allow yourself maybe to find the strength in that just know that it's happening for a reason. It's not gonna, last forever. It's just a short period until I have gotten used to it, until I've made it through this awakening stage right now. The second tip is really take time for inner contemplation, like where you go inward, where you meditate more, because it's all about going within. It's not doing something outside of you that's going to help you, make it through this. It's going within, because you got to get used to your new self again. You got to uncover, well, who am I now? Because another sign is that, another symptoms of these growing, because another thing that can happen as you're awakening is that you're then also going through a period of identity crisis, where you really ask yourself, like, who am I? And when you take time to really go within and uncover, well, what is it that I want? Who am I really? What am I here to do? What do I feel drawn to? What are some things that are still holding me back? And really do this deep inner contemplation. That too then can help you make it through this a lot easier, because whatever comes to the surface, and usually whenever you experience those growing pains, it's also because there's a part of you that's fighting you awakening. There's doubts coming up, fears, limiting beliefs, and all of those things. And when you take time to really go within, you will be able to uncover that. You will be able to realize what is really holding you back, and then you have the choice to do something about it. So really taking time to just go within. Go within, do some inner contemplation to really find your way, find yourself again, get used to that new you again is definitely beneficial. And like I said, meditation is absolutely, I definitely would suggest meditate daily. Even if you're not going through a spiritual awakening phase, meditation is so powerful because it allows you to find answers within. So meditate daily is really going to help you with this as well. Then the third tip here is self-care is a must. This is often overlooked. And I mean, we have been taught we gotta keep doing, we gotta keep pushing, we gotta make stuff happen, right? It's very challenging for us to just sit back and just allow, to take time to just relax when we know we have this massive to-do list that we have to get done, and all these things and all these obligations and responsibility and whatnot. But during this awakening process, going through these growing pains, it is very important that you really take time for yourself, that you really make time for self-care, whether it's you just maybe sleeping a little bit more, because when you sleep, you actually heal. It's so powerful. So when you feel like you want to listen to your body, when your body says, I'm tired, I want to rest, don't ignore it, but really listen to your body. Let your body guide you on what it is that you need. Whether it is you want to maybe just go outside for a little bit, just enjoy Mother Nature, or maybe just be a couch potato for a little bit because that's really what your body needs, or maybe meditate more, whatever it is, or maybe go get a massage. Listen to your body, but make self-care part of your daily routine. Self-care is so important because you need that time to readjust. You need time to relax. You need time to ease into that next phase. And if you're constantly just pushing and grinding and making stuff happen, you're not giving yourself the space and time to ease into that new version that is trying to come through. So self-care, very important. And then the fourth tip is journal about your experience. When you journal about your experience, that also can help you in actually releasing negative energies. Because as you're journaling about your day or your experience and all the stuff that's going on, you can also let go of certain things that maybe are bothering you. Because as you're journaling, you're free writing and you're allowing maybe some things to come up, and then you can write about that. And that can be very releasing as well. So journaling as you're going through this is very helpful as well, to not just put down your experience, but also to release what needs to be released. And I think it's always so amazing that when you look back at your journals, like let's say a year from now, you look at your journals from today, you then realize, oh my God, I have come this far. Because then you will also realize how your writing has changed. I often look back at my journals from a year ago or 2 years ago, and I read certain things and I realize how much my mindset has changed, how I view things. Back then I was very limited and very frustrated, and it showed in the writing. And now I write completely different. I look at things completely different. I was even thinking like, oh my God, why did I think this way back then? So journaling and really writing down your experience can be so uplifting as well, because whenever you then feel stuck, you can then look at your journal from a year ago and you realize, you know what, even though I may not see the growth that has happened, but you know what, I have grown. So that can be very beneficial as well. But hey, before I keep going, I want to ask you, if you enjoyed this video so far, if you've gotten some value out of this video already, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. I would definitely appreciate it. It would also help me here with the algorithm on YouTube. So if you like this video so far, give me a thumbs up, please. So moving on to the fifth tip here is do something fun more often. Because life is already serious. As an adult, we're looking at life from a serious lens, right? Where everything is so serious. We don't always give ourselves time to just play, to let our inner child come out and just go wild, right? I mean, when was the last time you were just running around all crazy and just having absolute fun without thinking about how ridiculous you look or how weird this looks or anything like that? It's probably been a very long time, right? Now, I'm not saying go out there and do all kind of weird things. I'm not saying that at all. But just do something fun. Let your inner child come out and play, because when you allow yourself to have fun, and it doesn't have to be anything major, but just some small things, whether it's you play with your kids or your dogs or your animals, or you know, play around with friends, or do something, go on a little road trip or anything like that. Whatever it is that really puts a smile on your face. Because as you're going through these growing pains, well, you know, they're growing pains, it's not going to be comfortable. So you really want to take your mind off of that. And when you do something fun, well, you are enjoying, right? You're laughing. Then you don't think about all the stuff that's going on. And also when you are really focusing on joy and doing something fun, that raises your vibration as well. So that also then helps you align yourself to that new version of you much quicker as well. Because I'm pretty sure you rather would like to be a little bit more fun and uplifted and just feeling really good, right? So the more joyful things that you can do, and even if it's just if you find joy in, let's say, painting or drawing or doing puzzles or whatever it is, listen to your inner child and let your inner child guide you to what is it that you want to do. That really puts a smile on your face. That then too can help you just get out of that funk of going through these growing pains. Because like I mentioned earlier, you need to give yourself time and space to get used to that new you, that new evolved version of you. And when you're always just so focused on maybe reading a book, a spiritual book, or learning something, taking courses, and doing things like that, you're only feeding yourself more and more and more. but you're not giving yourself the space to let it sink in, to let it, to integrate the growth that you have been going through. So go out, do something fun. Do something fun and just and laugh. Do whatever brings you joy. Because like I said, you want to give yourself that time and space to grow into that new way of being. Remember, new shoe. You need to walk in that new shoe first too before it feels comfortable. Same thing with each stage of your awakening. And the 8th and final tip here is movement. Movement will help you in moving the energy in your body, because anytime you're awakening, you're also receiving a higher download of downloads of light codes and higher frequencies. And well, your body kind of is the last piece here that kind of needs to adjust, because your spiritual, your emotional, and your mental bodies, they grow a lot faster. Your body is like, hey, let me catch up here, right? So you're storing all that energy within you, because also when you're awakening, a lot of stuff is being knocked loose. A lot of the old stuff needs to be released. So all that negative energy is still stored within your body too, which, like I said, can then also cause physical discomfort, physical pain. So when you do something movement-wise, whether it's yoga or stretching or just going for a walk, I'm not saying go to the gym and have like a full-blown gym, routine. That's not what I'm saying. But just movement in general, like I said, whether it's yoga, stretching, or going for a walk, that already will help you in moving the energy. So that is very helpful, because you want to let go of that energy. Of course, then you can also do some grounding as well. But just movement in general will move the energy in your body. So that too can help you whenever you're going through these growing pains to release the negative charge, the negative energy of, the awakening. So here you go. Here are the 8 tips that I have found for myself help me quite a lot going through these growing pains, these periods of growing pains. But I want to ask you, what is working for you? What do you do that is helping you really make it through your spiritual awakening? Do you have certain tips, certain strategies, certain procedures, or anything like that, or processes that you do to help you really go through this? I would love to know. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what works for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and check out this next video here. It's about the top 10 habits to do daily to really stay empowered. I think you're gonna love it. So thanks so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Until then, make an amazingly abundant, successful day. Namaste.